Welcome everyone to Central Talk Show, where we bring your insights from the forefront of technology and cybersecurity. Today, I have the distinct honor to host a true titan in the field. He has more than 27 years of incredible experience. He is not just a world-class trainer, he is also a very well-known speaker, which I admire myself. He has multiple awards. He's an author. I can talk half day just about what he's doing. Very recently, he became a YouTube star as well. Instead of me talking about him, I would like to invite Andy Malone, the one and only. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Erdal, great to see you. I really appreciate you bringing me on here. So it's nice to meet everybody. I'll tell you a little bit about me. Well,
Please.
I've been actually, it's 30 years this year. I've been an instructor and 19 years as an MVP. I started YouTube about 4 years ago, just in COVID, those dark days. You remember that? Seems like a million years ago now. And I basically realized that, like you, we're getting a little bit older and we have this repository of knowledge in our heads. And I thought, I want to share this with folks. So I thought, what the heck, I'm going to have a go at this YouTube malarkey. So we did, and it's doing well. I've got 182,000 subscribers now, and yeah, it's doing very well. It's a kind of a dedicated Microsoft 365 security compliance type channel. So
I remember when I joined, it was less than 1,000. You said 100,000, right?
182,000 now.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody, Andy can talk about. We will put the URL somewhere later. But let's talk about how we can help the community. And I know you are a big community supporter. Absolutely. I would like to start with identity as the new perimeter. We know that attacks has shifted from server side, from cloud side to identity. And we see many organizations, they move to cloud, especially in hybrid environments. As a result, identity is one of the most important components.
Absolutely.
From your wonderful experience, what are the most critical identity and access management strategies for CIOs, CISOs that can prioritize right now? Especially looking at Microsoft Entra, how they can minimize the impact of credential theft.
So I think the biggest issue I think at the moment in cloud is actually hybrid. So in the hybrid cloud, I think that the hybrid cloud is really drawing quite a large attack community. It's certainly the area where criminals go to first. And of course, a lot of organizations, nation state actors, I'm not going to mention them, but of course they have to pay for their wars somehow. So it generates a lot of income for these people, of course. But for me, hybrid is definitely a major attack area. And cruelly, hackers at the moment are going not just for, I suppose, the kind of the main Windows server, they're also going for backups as well. So as I've said many times on my channel, immutable backups are absolutely important. Keep them offsite, disconnected, really, really important. I mean, you just have to look at the Maersk, the famous Maersk hack for that.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of kind of identity technologies, absolutely phishing resistant credentials. So passkeys, of course, very big at the moment. So both the hardware based passkeys and also the kind of more mobile passkeys as well are fantastic. They are still a little bit slow in being rolled out, but I would like to see that more. Also, verified identity. Verified identity is really gaining traction out there now. And I think it's, more and more kind of government-based organizations are using that. And again, it's a great benefit. And finally, I think one of the biggest threats that we see at the moment are MFA threats, token theft, of course. So having really good protection against potential token theft is really, really important. And of course, that's where the likes of conditional access comes in token protection, and so on. So those are kind of the core things that I would say at the moment.
And I think they are all very, very important. I mean, let's go to our next question, which is related to this as well. Now, let's learn something about balancing security with productivity. You are a Microsoft MVP, and you are really focused a lot at Microsoft 365. And it's not a secret, many organizations are leveraging the full suite of Microsoft 365 for productivity. However, this is bringing a significant attack surface. What are the key security configurations that us CISOs usually often overlook, but are absolute essential for maintaining a robust security posture without hindering user productivity? You always talk about it. Security is always like a jungler. You have to be in the balance. If you make it too secure, it is going to be less productive.
Absolutely.
Favorite quotes that you mentioned for years, and as someone who admires you for so long, how can you keep? I'm a CISO, right? How can I keep my organization secure without bothering my end users?
It's a difficult question. It's really, that we all want that balancing of security and convenience, and probably, you can't have both, basically, as you know. So one of the first things you have to do, certainly if you've got a new tenant, is security defaults. And of course, security defaults switches on MFA for everybody, which is, to be honest, now is pretty much out there now. The days of the password, I think, are pretty much, I don't know if it's dead yet, but it's definitely being measured for its coffin.
Microsoft is pushing for it a lot, right? Passwordless authentication. That's it.
Yeah. So I think the days of the password are really coming to an end. But what we are seeing is customers, especially small, medium-sized businesses, less than 300 people. They're not quite sure which. I mean, let's face it, Microsoft licensing is quite complex. And the
30 years, sorry, I spent 25 years on it. I still have no clue how it works.
Absolutely. So, I mean, gosh, I think if we get that worked out, we'll make a load of money.
Status, right? Anyway, back to the topic.
Yeah, but I think that in terms of licensing, I think you need to understand, first of all, I think the best value license that Microsoft can offer today is Business Premium. So certainly if you've got less than 300 users, you really do get a lot for your money, and you get a lot of those security products. But I think the kind of the security risk at the moment is actually coming from Microsoft itself, in that a lot of its products are very fragmented. So you get this feature, and it's a drip, drip, drip feature, and unfortunately we're in this subscription space now, and it all started with Salesforce years ago, of course, and now we subscribe to everything, and there will be a point where this barrier kind of tops out, I think. And I think the subscriptions are a problem. I mean, as a CISO, what happens if my subscription stops? Where is my data going to go? How can I get that data back? We're also concentrated in getting our data into the cloud. What can we do about getting our data out of the cloud? That's the important thing for me. And it will happen. It will come full circle. I believe that. Because ultimately, you're not going to keep your data in a subscription forever. It's something that you don't physically own. So I think that is a potential risk that CISOs need to answer. But again, it's got pros and cons. It's convenient, security. So I think, circling back to the original question, Business Premium, definitely for large organizations, E5. And even then, if you are using Teams, which is optional now, you don't really get the full kind of benefit with it unless you've got Teams Premium, and then you've got Copilot. And I mean, we're actually getting to the stage now where you're going to spend $1,200 per user per year, and that's just for the basic stuff.
$1,200 per user per year. Just imagine
per month. Yeah, so $1,200. Yeah, so $100. We're hitting that $100 ceiling now. So if you've got 20, 30 users, that's not a problem. But if you've got 20, 30,000 users, that is a problem.
My budget is
So
gone as a
the
CISO.
budget, I mean, let's face it, you talk about information security, you've got to keep tight on that pennies. You've got to keep control of your finances, because if you don't, you've got no business at the end of the day. So it's a real balancing act. And if you can find the answer, then, good luck to you.
Oh yeah.
you know,
This brings something else in my mind. We talked about cloud, and cloud is now vintage, right?
yeah,
We saw, you mentioned a few minutes ago, pandemic. During pandemic, we saw that people, they could not adjust to the latest landscape, were outdated, they couldn't work, they suffered a lot because people were locked in their houses. I mean, me in Australia, I was physically locked in a hotel room for 2 weeks every time I visited overseas.
wow.
Now AI is coming. AI is new. You mentioned a few minutes ago how it's being in and out to cloud, but AI is bringing similar dangers, right? Um,
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
you connect. AI is giving you wonderful opportunities. Many stuff that you were doing manually, now it's automated. But once you subscribe, what are you sharing with AI? What is AI taking of you? So
Absolutely.
to the question, proactive versus reactive, emerging threats and the role of AI. I want to ask you this. Being an expert in the field, forget about your Microsoft head, being a security expert who for years run cybersecurity crime forums, right? You were the founder of it. How should CIOs, CISOs be preparing themselves against AI? Do you recommend any tools here that is going to empower us, which is not going to suck my budget?
Sure. I mean, lock your data down even before you start thinking about AI. So, tools like information protection, compliance tools, which of course, depending on the industry that you're in. So if you're in pharmaceuticals, finance, aviation, oil and gas, government, we all have regulations that we have to adhere to. And you have to prevent that data from leaking out there. So, preventing data leakage, data loss prevention policies, these are all fantastic tools at preventing that. But you also need to lock down the free versions of the apps as well. I mean, if you go on to ChatGPT, for example, today, and you just you click on that little plus symbol, and there is a connector there directly into your OneDrive, but also to your OneDrive for Business, and you can connect to the free version of ChatGPT with your OneDrive for Business, and that OAuth prompt comes up, and basically you're spilling the beans straight into ChatGPT without any authorization from your company. So again, that's where things like Defender for Cloud Apps, or preventing that OAuth app leakage. It's there's so many different ways. The landscape, you're talking about the threat landscape. That is a major threat landscape. Um, just this week, I'm actually working with a customer. I won't name them at the moment, but it's an AI driven call center. And I have to say, I said to them, give me a quote, and I've actually got it here. And it says, this tool will make your company faster, smarter, and more human, with setup that takes less than 20 minutes. Um, and it creates a call center agent that doesn't sleep, doesn't take lunch, doesn't take dinner, and they can work 24/7. And I'll
Did I
tell
hear
you,
it right?
you did.
So, wow.
This, I mean, just looking at that, I mean, from the dollar perspective, you're thinking, ching, 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 I can make a fortune. But on the flip side, how many people are going to lose their job because of that? All of these call centers, if you're a first line call center, your job's finished. It's over. It's done. Start looking for another job. Seriously, it's done. And you're talking
Interesting.
about, yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it, you know. And Jeffrey Hinton, Professor Jeffrey Hinton, who was who is the godfather of AI.
Okay.
He left Google a couple of years ago, and one of the reasons why he left Google, well, he was 75 and he was retiring anyway. But one of the reasons is he wanted to openly talk about the dangers of AI. One of the problems with AI at the moment is that it's owned by the big guys. It's owned by big American corporates, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, all of those big corporates, and they're all fighting
OpenAI.
off each other, and they're trying to get faster and faster and faster. And when we're missing the ethics of AI. So yes, we've got these at the moment. We've got these nice little tools that will produce pretty pictures and will help us with our daily work and so on. And to be fair, this is great. But Hinton is actually suggesting, I mean, at the moment, AI is like a 3-year-old, and we're treating it like a 3-year-old. But in 10, 15 years, AI will be smarter than us. What happens then? And he was actually asked, is it going to become a threat to humanity? And his answer is yes. Is it going to become conscious? His answer was yes. It's already starting to show signs of that. So, what's the threat of AI tools? It's AI itself, if it's not ethically managed. And really, we need to start. He's absolutely right. We need to start having a conversation about ethics and AI and governance, controlling it before it's too late. I really believe
So
that.
you remind me the Skynet. You remind me Robocop. You remind me
Absolutely.
Terminator.
Absolutely.
Um,
It's just exactly like that.
the
So
movies
what?
are becoming real.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean, it's he's actually said it's not a case of if it will come, it's a case of when it's going to come. It
It's like
will happen.
like in cybersecurity. It's not a matter of if you're gonna get hacked, you're gonna get hacked, but how you're gonna hack is the question, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Wow. But
Yes.
again, I mean, look, 3 months ago, Microsoft laid off 6,000 people based on AI algorithm.
Absolutely.
Uh, Now, not just Microsoft, by the way. I mean, I speak about Microsoft because we are affiliated with Microsoft, MVP, so on. But many tech companies do that. Bill Gates openly spoke about it as well. Unfortunately, it's the reality which is coming sooner than we think. Maybe not 10, 15 years, because if AI is 3 years old and it can do so much, I'm gonna wonder what it will do when it's 10 years old. You have a child, I have a
That's it.
child. I know kids are growing fast, and AI with all. I mean, you and I were autists. We know that Meta did this. It was on the news that they pirate our books, not just our, of
Totally.
course. They to train the AI. Just imagine if we pirate, for example, their software, they will sue us, but they pirate our work to train the AI, and this has already started. So ethic based on who? Is it based on Benjamin Franklin dollars
Yeah.
or based on humanity really? So we need, of course, here the regulations to kick in fast, and let's see where it's going to take us.
Absolutely.
Really
I
interesting
mean,
point. Thank you, Andy.
in 1948, the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 12, introduced the Privacy Act. Yes,
Yes,
the kind of the
of
first
course.
example of privacy coming out of World War II because of what happened in Germany and how efficient the Nazis were at hunting down Jews because of their administration methods. So think of that. Think of we're gaining a technology with that's stripping away our privacy. Okay, we're stripping away privacy that is now becoming, everything will be online, but it's more than that. We won't have control of it anymore. AI is going to have control of that information. So things like medical records, what's it going to do with those medical records? Um, you know, flashbacks of the net. You remember with Sandra Bullock and
Oh
how
yeah.
easy it is to change people's, records and things like that. But you talk about Skynet. That could be a potential reality. It could it could be a real reality. But the thing is, what we now need to do is we now need to have a serious conversation about putting safeguards in place. You know, we need an ISO standard. That's what we need. We need governance. We need AI that's not controlled by the corporations, but by some kind of international standard before it's too late.
I mean, I really don't know how to bind what you said. It's just I'm gonna be quiet and let people think about it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because again, something else came to my mind. The Cambridge scandal by Meta again. Back then,
Oh,
Facebook, right? How
totally.
they sold the data, and what happened? Yeah, slap in the hand. $2 billion fine. It sounds a lot
Yeah,
for us. For Andy Meron and Erdal is 2 billion a lot. But we know that for them, 2 billion is just like maybe a month worth of revenue. I don't know, I'm just making it up, but it is just less than a year revenue for sure, which
sure.
they can, they are happy to pay the fine as long as they can train whatever they need to train. So I think the world is going to be
I mean,
more
the world
interesting
is,
place to live.
yeah, I mean, the world is controlled by, if you think about it, these massive corporations. Who runs these massive corporations? Billion, trillion, zillionaires, who have got so much influence with governments around the world, not naming a few, but I'm sure you can guess, that, that, did you know, for example, in America, it's against the law not to make a profit for a company. It's against the law. They have to make a profit. So they're driven financially. It's all about making financials. And another thing, on the subject of AI, Microsoft has got this ethical AI thing, and the European Union have one, and the US government have one about ethics and AI. And it talks about what you can use AI for. And it says you should not use it, blah, 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 blah. Did you know that there's a clause within all of these um, policies that says except for military use?
Uh-huh.
So all of the ethics are in place except for military use. Wow.
I don't know, but again, another wow.
Yeah.
So thank you, Andy, and that's why having people like you is making the show more valuable. I think we should stop here before it's too late for both of us. We want to be in this world for a while as well.
We do.
Let's go back to security. We talked about hybrid environments. We talked about AI. We talked about now. What about supply chain? Trusting third parties. When I say trusting third parties, everybody's a third party. I mean, Windows, Mac, or Linux, whatever you use, they are third party. The hardware is third party. Any app that we even communicate now, it's a third party. And doing business without third party is impossible. What are the third party risks that you see, and what can CISOs, CIOs, CTOs do to mitigate this risk? Your recommendation as security expert, please.
That's a good question. I mean, and we all saw the risks in COVID. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so you couldn't produce cars because we couldn't produce microchips. We couldn't produce microchips because we couldn't get the more materials, because we didn't have the people. So we saw, serious gaps there in the kind of the whole supply chain. And we can see that in day-to-day operations of our business. We're putting things in the cloud now, and we're putting our that word, that amazing word, trust. Everything hangs on trust. We trust you that you're backing up our data. We trust you that our data is secure. But the fact is as soon as you hand that over to that third party, you're losing control there. So when we're talking about supply chains, you need to think of your data in a supply chain. Um, how are you going to get your data back? Or, is there some kind of backup mechanism? And I love the fact that, companies like Microsoft are now offering Microsoft 365 backups, and I did a review of it. And I think it's wonderful that they're charging you for something they're already charging you for. I thought that was just brilliant marketing. So, I mean, at least if you're going to do a backup, at least I would say from a CISO perspective, choose another provider. Don't go with the same provider. I wouldn't keep all your eggs in one basket. I think that's important. You know, it's an important component in supply chain security, I think, because your data is a commodity to you. It's the most important commodity. Um, but also, um, yeah, I'm trying to think what else. In terms of, yeah, you know, products, services, again, always vet the supply chain. Have a look at the company. You look at the, you know, the reporting. Where are they getting their products at the moment? It was interesting to see that Donald Trump the other day, he's forcing or suggesting that Apple start producing their
In
phones
US. Yeah.
in the US.
Not India.
And of course, they won't have the infrastructure for it in the US. So, I
I mean,
mean, it's
even
not
if
just
there's
a
the
case of,
infrastructure, they talk about having the skills workers, right?
yeah, they're not going to have the workers. Yeah, I mean, that's it. They're not going to have the skills. Where they're going to get the chips from? They're going to have to get the chips from China. They're going to have to get, you know, all the materials are going to come from China. And then you're right back into that whole supply chain again. So it's easy to say, yes, we'll produce a product in the US, but looking at the supply chain, it's a mammoth effort. You know, there could be, you know, 10 or 12 different steps. There could be multiple suppliers there. So that, I think that's an important conversation that customers need to have. And you need to have some kind of um, you know, service agreements with these organizations. You need to be able to view their auditors or view their audits. You know, they need to have a good audit chain. So, you know, SOC auditing and so on, which I know you've talked about in the past.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I'm gonna stop what I talked about. Let's focus on you. So I want to showcase before I let you go about your last power, superpower, leadership development.
The what?
Everybody
Sorry.
knows your technical proneness. You are really good in cybersecurity and
Yep.
IT leadership. What
Yep.
would you recommend us, CISOs, CIOs, to build a proper security culture? How can I
Mm,
empower my team to do better, to do more? What are
absolutely.
the current challenges?
Great question. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say to me, well, a lot of people, as you know, companies will go and spend an absolute fortune on security equipment and the latest software and the latest hardware and the latest tools. Um, but training often takes a back seat. So I would say, you know, from a CISO perspective, it's so important that you train your staff, and such an important component in information security because um, it, it's training is this is why we do it this way. Yes. So, you know, why do we need two people to escort you around a data center, for example? Why do we have to have safety drills? Why do we have to do this? It's because this training provides the why. This is why we need to do it, and also it helps with confidence as well. So and I think it really improves security. So have good training, but also listening to people as well. So Richard Branson, one of his great skills, he mentioned it in his book, and we were talking about this offline earlier. He mentions that one of the best things that you can do for your employees is, you know, you're a leader. You're not there to tell them what to do. You're there to listen to them and learn and build a community within the organization. You need to build trust within a group, and you need to build. You want people that are passionate about their jobs. You don't want them to leave. You don't want to train them. I read, well, what did I read? I read you don't train your people to leave. You train them so that they don't want to leave. Yes.
Exactly.
And I thought that was a great quote.
Um, I remember something similar in the same book. It says like someone is asking for budget, but hey, if we spend too much money and we train them, we spend this money and they leave. And he says, what if we don't train them and they stay?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
talking about that,
Exactly.
do I need lots of money to train my team, Or are there some great free resources? I mean,
Oh
you know
my
where the
gosh,
question's going
my
for.
well, it just so happens. No, I mean, I get
How much
asked
do you
this
charge
all
on
the
your
time.
YouTube channel for your full training? And I know they are full
Yeah,
training, not cut off or a chunk or a
yeah.
demo. It is a full training
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. I mean, what I did is I started YouTube. You know what? I remember seeing a movie. In fact, if you've ever seen the movie Good Will Hunting, he is there. He's a janitor. This guy's a janitor. He's working in a college, but he dreams of being more than that. And I just had visions of this guy in India or Bangladesh or China or somewhere in the world, and he's working the night shift, and he dreams of being more, and he doesn't know where to get the information from. So I created a YouTube channel, as I said, to give back. So you look at my playlists. I've got playlists on Entra, Microsoft 365, Defender Security, compliance. You could actually do the full course there. Um, but beyond that, I also started a Patreon channel as well, a Patreon site, which has been really successful. And I actually do offer full courses there. So, folks pay a little bit more, but they get access to the full courses, which is great. And what's really nice about YouTube is the feedback that I get from people. I've had people saying, wow, you've made such a difference. And I really understand this now. And that's great. That makes my job, so much easier, and it makes it so much more rewarding as well. And it's quite interesting that, I go places. Where was I? I was in the US, and I was in a supermarket, and this guy tapped me on the shoulder and he says, "Hey, you're Andy Malone. You're on YouTube." And I went, "Wow, that's incredible."
I think you shared
Uh,
this on Facebook, right? I remember reading this, or you were.
yeah,
I was so proud. I liked it. I
yeah.
remember
It's
that.
like,
It's
wow,
such
that's
a great
just,
feeling.
that was just amazing. But I started with nothing. I left school when I was 16 with no qualifications. I went back to college. I've done every job under the sun. I've been a projectionist. I've been a sales assistant. I've flipped burgers. I've made pizzas. You name it, I've done it. And when I went back to college, and then I went to university, and then I became a trainer, and the rest was history. You know, I mean, you've got a little bit of gray hair like me, so you've been in IT a long, long time, and we've seen things change, and we've seen things evolve, and we've seen the naysayers saying, "Oh, it's the end," the millennium bug. "Oh, it will end us. It's the end of the
Oh yeah.
world," and I don't believe so. I think things will come full circle. What I do believe, though, is I don't believe the cloud is the end. I think we will come full circle, and there's something else. That's what I think.
Andy, nah, I mean, I know it, but for the ones that don't know you, now they know why you have all these little rings behind you, that little beautiful microphone, which makes you speak of the ear. I have the same. I know it's very rare. The one on the top, the YouTube, you
Oh,
deserve all of
this
them.
one up here. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. You deserve all of them. And I know this is just a small demo. You have many more hidden behind the screen. So you deserve it all. Giving to the community, I truly appreciate it. And that's why we built this show as well. You didn't even ask for anything. You said, sure, community work,
Of
you're,
course.
I'm in, and you in. Thank you very much, Andy. Your depth
Pleasure.
of knowledge, your practical advisors, your passion for technology and security truly shines. And I really appreciated everything what you gave us.
You-
Thank you for sharing your individual valuable perspective. Thank you for everything. You're wonderful.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it, Ardil.
Please
Thank you.
keep in touch, and I see you, God knows where, next time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Andy, I cut you off there with mistake. Can you repeat what you said again?
I said, yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and see you soon. With this, we're coming to the end of another episode. Again, thank you very much, Andy. I truly appreciate your friendship, your leadership, and we didn't mention here, but you are also Microsoft certified trainer for so many years. So you are a certified trainer who shines the world. Thank you very much. Everybody, thoughts of Sentinel Talk Show? I'm looking forward to see you next fortnight. Till then, bye-bye.